Survival Seeds 2024 was a huge success, although, well, some of the plants, some of the seeds did not really work for me. Now, the choices that the Vineyard Chicks did were awesome. I mean, there was a very good starting point. It created discussions, it created questioning, which is probably one of the reasons they did that challenge in the first place. That being said, I don't think I would select necessarily the exact same type of vegetables they did. Well, let's start with the beets. So these are the last ones I have. They're obviously the smallest ones, but the Detroit red beets, I totally agree with those. Great choice. You can eat the leaves, you can eat the roots, and it's a biannual plant. You leave them there, and then the following season you get the seeds. If it was my choice, simply because my kids eat more carrots than beets, I would probably go for carrots. That doesn't mean that I don't like that choice. It just means that for my family, carrots would be better. Historically speaking, I had more success with carrots than with beets. So that would be another reason why I would go for carrots. The second one was the pole beans. I don't really remember what type it was, but I live in a short growing season. They didn't do nothing for me. By the time they started flowering, I mean, that was about a week ago, we started getting some cold weather. When I say cold weather, I mean just a tiny bit over what's required to have a frost, because today, September 15, we're officially the first frost date of the season. So my pole beans didn't do nothing, although the beans, they're a pretty good option, and I'm not saying that they're not. I totally agree with the beans. I would personally probably go with the golden wax beans simply because I've had more success with them. They provide a lot, and I'm in a short growing season, and I feel like it would do better for me. Here I don't have the yellow ones. I've harvested them all. I have one here, but that's not a golden wax. And I have a few green beans. We have to admit the beans are not really versatile, not in my kitchen anyway, but they're a very, very good source of proteins, and they have a lot of wonderful nutrients. So I have to agree with the beans, although for my growing season, I would probably go with regular yellow wax beans. The third vegetable, the Walla Walla onion. I'm not sure if it's because I just suck as a gardener or simply because there was something I needed to do differently, but my Walla Walla onions didn't do nothing. As soon as I transplanted them outside, they died. Now I have some other white and yellow onions around here that I was able to grow in the past. I harvested them already, probably ended up with about 30 pounds of onions. We don't eat a lot of onions. I find it's more to add flavor. It's not something that we would necessarily eat. I don't disagree with the choice. I get where the choice comes from because a lot of people eat onions and there's a lot of good medicinal properties to the onion. I personally would not use that type of onion. And if I was in a survival situation, I'm thinking I would probably not grow onions. I would probably grow, let's say, zucchini instead. And that's just me, and I mean, I still agree with the choice. It's just not for me. Now let's talk about the pepperoncini peppers. I ended up with two plants. One of them ended up dying. Nobody's fault other than probably mine. Once again, it's probably because I'm not really good gardener. But the one that survived produced like 3 peppers, and from what I can see, those peppers were not 100% ready by the time I harvested them, but cold weather required me to harvest them as soon as possible. So once again, the peppers, very, very good choice. They had a lot of flavors to food. I'm just not sure I would choose that specific type. Personally, I would probably go with the red night peppers because they get bigger faster and they're a little bit sweeter, I think. And once again, that's just my opinion. Although this year I managed to grow a little bit of cayenne pepper as well, which is considered a superfood. The fifth seed that we got was the San Marzano tomatoes. They're almost the same as the Roma tomatoes, and for that reason only, I would continue with the Roma tomatoes. But tomatoes, very versatile. It can be used in a lot of different ways. It's very common in a lot of people's kitchen. So I totally agree with the tomato, but simply because of my growing zone and simply because I'm more used to the Roma tomato, I would probably continue with the Roma tomato. And once again, I agree with the choice, just not necessarily the type I would use. I have a few plants here. I didn't do nothing to them. I left them on the ground, as you can see. Now the plants are dying off, so today I have to harvest everything that's left. And I filled about a dozen bags of those. And in each and every one of those bags, there's about 10 pounds. And the reason I know is because I took one of those bags yesterday and it was 10.2 pounds. So, you know, roughly 120 pounds, maybe, give or take. But tomatoes, very, very good choice. My San Marzano tomatoes, I think I had only 2 plants that made it out of the seeds I planted. Like I said before, I don't know if they're in my greenhouse. I don't know if I picked up some tomatoes and just didn't notice they were the San Marzano, or they just simply did not produce. The greenhouse did not do as well as I was hoping this year for some reason. Too humid, too warm. Last but not least, the butternut squash. That was a very interesting one. That's a vegetable or fruit, whatever you want to call it, that I try to grow every year. Out of a dozen seeds I plant, there's always about 6 that germinate. Once again, it could be because I'm a bad gardener. And out of those 6 plants, I might get 8. It wouldn't be too good for survival. I'm thinking that it's something that requires a lot more time than other type of squash. So personally, once again, just my personal choice, I was going that way, but I'm gonna come here to show you the 2 different kind of squash I would grow in a survival situation. If my life depended on it, I would grow spaghetti squash. And as you can see, the plant is pretty much dying, and I have some pumpkins in there as well. And I would grow the yellow early prolific squash. I've been getting a lot of them all throughout the year. They start producing at the end of July and they produce all the way until, well, the first few frosts. So I would probably go with that kind. But once again, it's only because of my climate. Trey, KK, Bunky, the choices you made were awesome. Only difference between you and I is you girls know how to garden and I don't. And I'm in a very cold climate. I only have about 105 days of growing season. Last frost date is around June 1st. First frost date is today, September 15. So I have to go with type of vegetables that will grow faster. Although I was able to grow butternut squash this year, I think I have them at home. I'm gonna try to put some video here on top of what I'm saying. I have already harvested about 3 of them. And I think I have another 3 or 4 growing out of the seeds that you girls sent me. What else? Nothing else. Just zucchinis. I love zucchinis. I would probably grow zucchinis instead of onions. That's pretty much the only difference I would make in everything that you girls have been doing in this collaboration. So thanks again for everyone watching, participating, donating, everyone getting involved. Special thank you to Charles at Bushcraft Family, to Jesse and Lisa at Lazy Days Ahead with Jesse and Lisa, all the family from the Vineyard Checks, Bunky, Trey, KK, and the father and the mother. I don't really know your name. I know you're always in there in the chat helping as well. Thank you, everyone. It was amazing. It was fun. It was fun to follow everyone. I didn't have time to comment. That's gonna come in the winter. It was a great event, huge success, and looking forward for next year. All right, take care. Thanks for watching. Don't hesitate to share, like, subscribe if it's not already done, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.